In this video, we'll add a shelter in the game. So after the player went through all the skeletons, the skulls, the enemy characters, and when he walked to the front door of this shelter, and he can press a key and enter the shelter. Alright, now I would like you to go to Unity Assets Store and download this asset. So the download link is posted on Blackboard, or you can just simply search it. And after you imported the assets, you should find a folder named Room under the assets. And in this scene, we have this folder. Okay, so what I want you to do, right click, and you can review in folder. Here we go. Okay, so what I want you to do is copy this scene and then go back to the assets and here, the scenes folder that we created, and just paste it here. And also we're going to rename it to scene 4 and go back to Unity. And then you should find it updated to your scene. So now you have the 4th scene. So let's double click to open. So make sure open this one, the duplicated one. Alright, so I want this to be the actor's final destination, so whenever the player enters this space, he's safe. Alright, then let's go back to the 3rd scene, which is the city, and select the player and focus on the player. So this is the player. As he walks out, he will encounter the zombies. Well, not actually zombies, the skeleton and skulls. So let's put the entrance to the shelter somewhere to here, so it takes a time for our player to find it. Okay, so we can come here and we can create a 3D object, a cube, and bring up, and maybe I'll just duplicate one directional light and rotate this light so I'll be able to see the inner side. Yeah, here we go. So for this cube we just created, and we'll use it as the trigger to enter the room. So let's place it in front of the door and make it a little bit bigger, taller. Here we go. And I'll say trigger, enter, maybe shelter. Okay, and here I'm going to check on is trigger and check off mesh render. Okay, and now let's drop a script to it. And remember, we have created a press key enter apartment. Should be this one. If I double click to open, here we go. So we have created this script earlier, and when you press down the EK, you're going to know the scene which index number is 2. However, here we're going to do index 4 because that is the 4th scene, right? So now let's duplicate this script. So Command D to make a duplication. Here we go. And I will see enter apartment, or maybe we can see just the enter shelter. And copy this name, and then double click to open. Okay, let me close the other script that we are not editing. Okay, so make sure you are opened the enter shelter script, and then we'll have to change the name here. Make sure the name matches with the script name. And here, the only thing you'll need to change is basically a node scene index number is 4. Okay, and player enter this trigger, you're going to show instruction, exit the trigger, disable the instruction, and press the E key, going to load the 4th scene. Okay, so now let's save the scene and go back. And we'll need to go to the build setting. So here we can see that we don't have any scene which index number is 4, so we'll just go to the scenes folder, build setting, and drop the 4th scene here. So now the index number is 4, so that should be good. So this is the shelter trigger. And then let me go back to the first person controller and okay, just the bug. So we'll select the period light, the second light, and I will make a duplication, and here we can just rename it to identify it. So that will be the third one. And then we can drop the third one into the shelter trigger and then zero out the position, and then it should stay together with this parent. Okay, and for this light we can place it on top, like here. Okay, so whenever the game is awake, this light is going to kind of flashing, and our player will know where to go. And you may also select the first light, this light, and make it intensity a little bit bigger. So for example, the range, maybe you can do 3.5 and intensity do about 3, maybe 4. Looks like here's a very dark. Let me disable the direction light, take a look. Okay, look good. You can also select this light and change the color to kind of orangish yellowish color, so we know this is a safety space. Then let's select the trigger, enter this shelter, and let's add a script, and we'll add the press key, enter shelter. So now it should work. And here we'll need the instruction. Okay, so here let's say we'll go to the canvas here, and we still have the instruction 8. So here I'm gonna say press E to enter the shelter. Okay, and let's show it and press F key to make sure it's centered. Okay, it's not centered, so I will press this button to center the text. So now it should be good. And then I will hide this text and go back to the trigger. Okay, so for this trigger, I'm going to drop the instruction 8 to here. So that is for enter the shelter. Press E key to enter the shelter. And I want to create one more thing. So when our player enter this scene, enter the city, and want to show a text and tell the player that follow the light, and then you will go to a safety space to stay. Okay, so we can duplicate this text, the instruction, and here I'm gonna say instruction 9 and show it temporarily, and we're gonna say follow the light, and you will find a safety space to stay tonight. Okay, and you can press E, and looks like we'll need a 2 sentence to 9, and also use this one to enlarge it, and we can move it up a little bit. Okay, and then I will turn it off, and then I'm going to go back to the first person controller, and here I will create a trigger. So whenever the player enters this trigger, it's going to show the text. Okay, so let's show the direction light temporarily, and then I will create a cube and bring the cube to the front. Make it very big, so our player will never miss it. Okay, and I'll turn off mesh render and check on its trigger, and here I will add box collider to it, and now you can see that they stay together. So for this new box collider, I'm going to change the X. And let's see. And also change the Z, so we're going to center here. And we'll also change the scale. Okay, so it's gonna cover this side, and then we can just duplicate this one. So copy component and then paste as a new, so it will make a duplication. So now we can just change the Z. So here, if I put minus, so you're going to shift it to the other side, and maybe I will just place it here to stop at this wall. Okay, so now let's add a function to it. Here we can rename this as trigger remind shelter. Okay. Remind player shelter or anything you want to rename. I just want to keep the name short. So here let's do add component script. So here we'll just start a new script, and for this script we can see show instruction to shelter. So command A to select the whole thing and then copy it, right? And then we can just hit return key to enter. So here's the script we created, and you can double click on to open. Alright, so for the function here, we can just copy from the press key enter shelter script, and we don't need the press E key to enter a scene. We don't need that, and we'll only need enter the trigger. Going to show the instruction. Exit, gonna disable the instruction, right? So I'll copy this part, pop the object, and then voice start and on trigger enter, on trigger exit. So copy, and here go back to show instruction to shelter, and we'll delete this whole part. Okay, and paste the script here. So this is how the script looks, and then you can just go save, and then go back here, and then you can so here for the script, here you can see it will show the instructions, so you can just drop the instruction 9 to it. Alright, and then don't forget, go to the scene 4. Here if I go to scene 4, you will see we don't have player in the scene. So if we enter this scene, the game will remind us that you don't have available camera to render the scene. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the third scene and copy this whole project, this whole character folder, copy, and then go to the fourth scene, and I will just paste it here. Right, so right now it's somewhere. So what I can do is I'll just drop it into one of these objects, and then zero out its value, so it'll bring it here, and then I can drop it out, move it out, and go to place it in the scene here in the center. Here we go. And make sure this collider is above the ground but not too high, because that is the foot of the player. And here let's see, actually we want our player to aim to this position, this direction, because this is the door, right? So we're gonna select this whole folder and rotate it. Looks like if I put 0 here, it should be good, right? So blue arrow is aiming to the front, so that should be good. And then here, as you can see, we got a candle, this whole thing, and it's on the ground, and we can just move it up and put it on the ceiling, and it should be fine. And everything else looks good. Okay, so we can go back to our third scene, and then here we can run a test and see how it works. So this is the beginning, and this is the instruction. So let's go to follow the light. So we'll come here and enter. Oops. So we'll be able to jump to the safety space. However, as you can see, the players are falling through. So I'll come back here, and basically we'll have to select the wall. Okay, all of the models, and we'll have to give it a mesh collider. So now if we apply a mesh collider and if we test a play in the scene, let me see. So go to the main and then go to the ground, and we'll need to actually apply the mesh collider to the actual model, not the folder. Okay, here are the wall, and apply mesh collider to the wall as well. And now if you test a play, it should be good. Yep. Okay, so now we are in the safety space. In our next video, we'll create the menus and we'll finish up our game.